All right, so what we're gonna do, this is our honeycomb home screen that we like to call it, or at least I like to call it, and all the different choices are here. And you've got implant planning and surgical guides. And then I want you to click on that, and then it's gonna give you a choice of 1 to 2 implant wizard. And we're gonna click on that, all right? So if you recall, before we had to create a new patient, so I'd like you to go in and click new patient, and just create a name for this case. It's gonna be a lower, so if you wanna do whatever you wanna do, lower, this is gonna be lower Las Vegas. Okay? Just like that. And go create. If you're doing a patient, you put the other vital information in there, because all this information is gonna be transferred to Lab Pronto. Lab Pronto is our concierge service who provides fabrication of all these things, or crowns, or by implants or whatever. It goes through Lab Pronto. So all this stuff is uploaded directly into that. All right, so now this patient shows up right here. You're gonna have a whole list of patients here as you develop your caseload. And get used to the buttons up here next. There's the next button, okay? But first, like I said, we're gonna do the case that Corey just did. We're gonna go through it again while it's fresh in your mind. We're gonna do the mandible case. So you have to click on mandible, and then click on next. Okay? And now the computer looks for zip files for DICOM files. It should go to that file that you just put on your desktop from the thumb drive. It should point to that, and you notice up there where it says we're going to choose we're going to choose mandible, case number 2. And you do have to click on the DICOM folder, the zip file. So you may get, if you get a CBCT, does everybody have their own CBCT? Or are you paying to have it done? Okay. Either way, you could be getting files with a bunch of slices in it. If they're individual slices, like hundreds of files, you need to zip them up, because this only looks for zip files. Because remember all the slices? Mm-hmm. So you look for the zip file, but the software does look for zip files. So it's going to come to this zip file that we're choosing in mandibular case number 2. Just highlight it and click OK. Is everybody up to this point? It's going to start thinking about bringing in that file. So here we go. Gives you a preview, gives you the metadata about the case. Okay. And when you click OK, it'll let you preview it and make it smaller if you need to. So remember we talked about small, the smallest possible file size, okay? This right here. So when you get to here, let's stop. And so this is how you adjust your file size. I mean, you're taking out a lot of noise that you don't need. So this is a mandibular case, so we don't need all that maxillary data. We don't need all this cervical data here. So we could probably crop this in a little bit. We can get rid of this. Just go where the little finger starts, you pull it down. And this helps the computer work more efficiently. If your computer does not have a video card that's very strong, just fair warning, at some point if the files are too big, it'll just crash on you. It'll just stop working and go back to the honeycomb screen. Okay? And you do the same up here. And I think Corey mentioned you need a good gaming computer. And that's, they're $1,000. You can get one with a decent video card that's probably 8 gigs. And with that, you can do pretty much anything. This one has 16. I can do quite a bit of case in this one. I mean, pretty big case in this one. But I've seen some pretty old computers do the job. So I'm just saying, if it crashes, if for some reason it just like blanks out and goes back to the home screen, that means it couldn't handle the data. All right, we got our files trimmed up. We good? Yeah? Thumbs up? Mm-hmm. Okay, so click OK. All right, gives just a little preview there. That's what the cleaned up version should look like, okay? And we're going to click Next. And again, depending on your computer speed, this could take a little bit of time, but it shouldn't take too long. Okay, now it's bringing in that. So next thing we're gonna do is upload the STL. But okay, this screen's important. Don't ever overlook this one, because this is where you're gonna choose the surgical kit that you're using. So if you're using Strawman or using Astra or Blue Sky Bio fully guided kit, which is in front of you, make sure this is chosen right here. Because if you look down here at the list, they're all here. Well, everybody who wants to be in our software is here. So we don't have any control of that. So as a manufacturer, they contact us and say, we'd like to be in your software. And they give us the files and we integrate it, okay? So if you want to for fun, if you're using a different system, you can go down here and look at, see if your system's in here, but don't choose it for this exercise because it'll populate with the implants that are not what we're using today. And we don't want to do that, okay? But we're using, and also, this is a model STL case. We're going to upload an STL in a second. If you were to go model CT, for example, a lot of CTs now you can actually scan models and get a file. And that's a model CT. We're actually looking at DICOM files that need to be converted. That'll convert your DICOM file if you were to choose model CT. Or the same thing with impressions. But we're doing a model STL. And we're using Blue Sky Bio fully guided surgical kit. All right? All right. Click OK. Now it's starting to crunch. Now it's doing all the auto detection that we talked about. And it's already done it all, really. I mean, the only thing it's got to do now is after you click next again, we're going to upload the STL and it'll merge it. But for here, I want you to look at some of the features. So play with some of these buttons. The ones I want to show you are the ones in the top corner of each mini screen here. See these middle? This right here. So this will maximize that particular box you want to see, and you can go through and manipulate it however you need to. So this is basically your contrast for the bone. If you want to go back, just click it again. And if you want to choose this one to actually look through the bone, you can, where you can use your mouse and scroll through the slices. There you can see the nerve. There's your mental foramen, anterior loop. Okay, and I think Corey mentioned this, you know, this is very, very accurate. Okay, is it perfect? No. In my lecture, normally I would have given you probably 4 pieces of literature that support how good AI is, but it still needs to be checked. Okay, it's still not the perfect solution. It's really close. We're getting better every day, but still you're ultimately responsible. So check it. Okay. All right, so we can go through there, we go back here. Okay, this is a panel here if you want to look at that. You know, you can go through, and again, all these are coordinated as far as what they're looking at, as far as moving through the slides. Okay. The other button I want you to think about is this one right here. So see the little camera right here? Remember we talked about this surgical report? At any point in time, so if you see this slide and you say, oh my gosh, there's something here I got to remember, just click on the camera button, okay, and it'll make a screenshot of whatever you're viewing, okay, and it'll put it on that surgical report at the end. So you can have 20 pictures if you want, or just have it for the patient's file. If they had a defect in the bone that you might be concerned about failing, you're causing the implant failure in the future, and you capture it here and they don't show up in the other screenshots, you could grab it here and say, okay, here's that defect that could be problematic someday, okay? One of the big reasons for a CBCT is to be able to see everything and make educated, evidence-based decisions on what you're doing. You can actually look at the distance of your slices or the thickness of your slices if you want to. You can put a grid on if you'd like to see, if you want to make measurements. That's already on there. Let's see, what are these over here? I think these are, yeah, these are just different renderings, different views, and you're going to get more into this when you get into the full version, the advanced version. So after you've looked at things, again, over here, you've got your steps. So we've loaded the DICOM file so far. It's auto-detected the nerve. Now we're going to import the STL file, so it knows what you're going to do next. And you can go back a step if you want to at any point in time by just clicking on that step, and it'll take you back. It shows us we're 15% done with the whole process right here. So click next. All right. and it's going to look for that STL. So I want you to choose Case 2 Mandible iOS STL, and it'll have the extension STL on it, and you have a preview of it there. You can look at it however you need to. Okay, yeah, that's the right one. That's the one we're looking for. And I hate that my back's to you guys. I want to get over here, at least my side to you. All right, that's better. Sort of my shoulders. All right, so we have our STL. Click OK. Now it's going to bring in those files, and then we got all the screens down. And this is where we can verify, well, how good is the registration? What I like to look at, well, first off, we got to make sure, yeah, we're confirming that it's Mandible, so click OK. And it's going to go ahead and finish the registration. So it's fine-tuning it now. And this is one of the jobs that takes a lot of power in the computer, is registering files. So, okay, what I like to look at, I'm going to blow this up some, is do you see how this is kind of speckled and it's kind of blended in, it's kind of multicolored? That's a sign of a good registration. It's called a color map. I mean, it's one way to look at it. And if you see a lot of that combined color, those speckled, that kind of gradient looking, that means you've got a good registration. If not, you can also look, as Corey was telling earlier, you could look it through here and see how this outline matches the teeth. See that? That's the STL is the yellow, and the tooth obviously is the white. And you can scroll all the way through this, and that's a really good registration. Okay? Yeah. That's one way to look at it. You can look at it over here in this screen, and they'll actually show you the teeth. So this is the tooth of the model. You have soft tissue here, that's what the gap is. And you can scroll through that and see how that follows all the way through. That's right on, that's dead on. We like that, okay? Yeah, 5 years ago we really couldn't do this. This is a cool technology, but it does all this automatedly. All right, then you have the same thing here. This shows the contour lateral, lateral view of the slices with the same STL file. All right, once you're confident that you're comfortable, well, you're comfortable with the registration, and I'm telling you, it's going to be really good most of the time. And click next. I can't see where the next is. There it is. Okay. Now we have to choose a tooth. This is an important screen, so we're doing tooth number 19. You want to confirm down here that, see, it's automatically choosing. We had already set this. It's set to automatic implant choice. So based on the width of the bone, the volume, it's the width and length of the space in the bone. It's choosing a 5.0 by 11.5. Okay, so that's what it says down here. And if you click on that, it'll go to that implant window. And it'll show you all the features of the implant. So if you look up here, it's going to confirm that we're in the Blue Sky Bio system. We're using the Blue Sky Bio fully guided kit, and we're talking about the implant. Okay. Here it's chosen a Nobel Active Max. It's chosen a 5.0, and it's chosen the 11 millimeter. Okay, and it shows you a picture right here. And you can change that. You can change this to a 10 if you want. It's up to you. But that's what it's recommending based on what it sees. Before you get out of this screen, you need to make sure that you got to decide what kind of a case it's going to be. Is it going to be a custom abutment? Is it going to be a tie base? Whatever, you need to choose that, because that's going to be important for planning the crown in a future step. So click on abutment. Follow here through me. Follow with me here. No abutment selected yet. And we're going to go select abutment, and all these different abutments that Blue Sky Bio has available for its implants are here, okay? And if there are compatible Blue Sky Bio abutments in the system for other implants, it'll show them here, but normally their own abutments are going to be in here. I'd like you to choose, just for this exercise, a straight 4.5 abutment, just like that, okay? So there's no angle on this one. See how they have a 30 degree, 17 degree, 45 degree? Just choose a 0 degree 4.5. All right. And it's going to automatically choose the guide tube you need. And notwithstanding Corey's discussion about whether you need them or not, if you choose to use them, this is one of the places you can actually choose the guide tube. And I'll show you a reason why it might not be necessary later on as well that he doesn't mention. But there is a risk, and I've seen studies on this, there is a slight risk of bumping the guide with the drill surface and creating debris in the osteotomy, which is not a good thing. But if you're careful, that probably won't happen. And that's what Corey was talking about. So you've got these three windows: implant, abutment, software, or the guide tube. So let's get back here to the implant. And I don't think there's anything else here I need. Well, if you wanted to choose a custom abutment, you could. We're not going to do that in this one, but you could choose your specific measurements that you choose to use. Or no abutment at all. If you go no abutment at all, that means you're just going to place the implant and cover it up and let it heal. But assuming you're going to temporize it, which is where we're going to go with this crown that we're going to build, that's where you choose it. So select abutment and get my implant. There we go. I want the straight one there. Okay, click OK. So now we have that implant, the left mandibular first molar, tooth number 19. And now, well, one of the things I wanted to show you is right here, if you want to. This is our default catalog. We've got a bunch of different tooth catalogs to choose from. This is probably one of the most popular catalogs because they're kind of feminine, masculine combined. It's a good general tooth. But if you wanted to choose something different, you have the time, you can go through and look at all the different molds. Okay, so click OK, and now it's going to segment everything. So this is where it's going through all those segmenting steps that we need to create the STL files. Remember, it closes up the data files, makes them closed files. It's going to create the tooth, and it's going to create the guide right here. Place the implant in the appropriate spot where it thinks it should be, based on what it sees, and that's it. Okay, so you just planted an implant. If you were just to have busted through that, I mean, you could probably bust through that first part in about a minute if you know what you were doing, okay? So now you're here, in a minute, you've got an implant placement planned. So this is your initial preview. So we've got the implant, we've got the die base, we've got the crown proposal, so that's our wax up. All right. Click next one more time and it's going to give you even a cooler screen. It's going to give you actual, okay, we're back to the X-ray now. So we're actually back to the CBCT where we can see bone and make our judgments. Do we like this or not? Do we like the position? Well, you can just go with your mouse and scroll through the bone. This rotates on the implant around the bone. You can look at the distance from the adjacent tooth. You can look at cortical plates. Say you don't like the height. Is there anything about this placement we don't like? Even if there isn't, let's make something up, okay? Because I want to change it. So you can change two things. And this does not have the occlusion. So had we imported an occlusal model, there would have been a step for that to add it to the top, so we'd have an occlusion. And I've got slides that show that. I'll show it to you in a second. And you need to affect that. We could mess with the tooth. So there's two different adjustments here. There's one adjustment for the implant, and you just click on the implant and all those little circles show up. And there's another one on the tooth. So if you see it's different. So this one is for the tooth. So if you wanted to change the tooth, you could do it here. Now these arrows, what they mean is, the arrows just mean lateral or axial movements in the long direction. So just take that and move. So I'm moving only the crown, okay? And it's moving it on both streets. So see, I'm moving it up, but I'm moving it down, okay? Or I could rotate it. I could rotate it around. Or I didn't like that change. I just go back up here and I say, go back, okay? And you can go back as pretty much as many times as you are in this screen to make your to fix your corrections. Okay, let's see if we want to move the implant. So we click on the implant now, and we can do the same here. We can move the implant up, and I'm looking over here. I'm looking at bone. See, I don't want to be that close to the tooth. I could just move this over. Okay, I could get my screen over here. I'll just move this over like that, okay, or this way. I like that better, okay? Or say I don't like the angle of it. Now we can pull on these circles and we can rotate it around like this. See, now we're rotating it. That's how you rotate it. Or we can rotate it axially on its axis this way. There's just really no reason to because there's no clocking on these anyway. So that's how you make changes. Now, nobody's asked me yet on this, so if you go back to the crown, see there's a little dot here? Dot here. So these are scaling dots. So what happens is the arrows move them in one direction or the other. If you click on the dot, you can't do it to the implant, but if you click on the crown, and I'm going mesial distal here, I can scale it. So I can go bigger, or I can go smaller, or I can go up here and I can make it go taller or shorter. Okay? So these are just scaling buttons. Okay? Okay. So those are your tools. Those are your basic tools for looking at things. But if you look at it, the original placement was pretty good on this one, I thought. You were, got plenty of good bone. We're not in any teeth, adjacent teeth. Crown looked good. You got the tie base there. You can even look at your proposed screw hole, which is right on that axis, that middle axis. Okay? The screw hole comes in later when we do the crown, but I'll show you that. All right. But if you see this one in some strange angle, or if you've made adjustments to the implant, and you need to go back and change the abutment, for example. So let's just pretend like we do this. Let's just say that we needed to place the implant like that. Well, that abutment's not going to work now, is it? So what we need to do is right-click on that abutment, and we say replace, and it goes back to the screen, which you recognize, okay? And we got to go to the abutment tab, and here we go. So what do we think is going to go in there? A 17 maybe? Maybe? That's a multi-unit there. Let's see. Let's do this one right here. Oh, that's a locator. I don't want that one. Is it this one here? I don't know all the product codes. That's a multi-unit. Maybe. There we go. Okay, 15. Okay. See what that looks like. Update. Take it here. Click OK. Take that one here. Oh, you know what? I've got to go here and it'll show it. Let me go back. There it goes. No, it's not taking it. Why is it not taking the abutment? Why is it not taking my abutment? Oh, I know. I think it's locked. Lock implant? No. Place. Abutment. Let's see, try tie base. I don't know why it's not clicking over there. It should be changing that. Well, I'm going to figure out why that's not doing it. I'll let you know. But anyway, there we go there. So we're back to that. Let's just get past this one. So, and if you wanted to go a different implant, you do the same thing. So this is where you would replace the size. If you wanted a deeper or longer implant, which I don't know if you'd need, you could go shorter, longer, thinner, narrower, whatever. You could choose, in that max line, you could either choose a 3.5, 4.3, 5.0, 6.0, or even a 7. And remember, there's only one platform. There's only one restorative platform. So they're all NP platform. This is a good example of what Corey is trying to explain with the platform shifting is right here. All right, so once we like that, again, pretty much going to be okay. We're going to click next. Okay, so there's a collision that's been detected by the software saying the guide tube might clash with the opposing of the adjacent teeth. Do we fix it, or do we want the computer to do it? Well, let's see what happens here. If you're not going to use a sleeve, you just say do nothing. I got this covered. You choose this one. If you're going to choose the sleeve, you'd say resolve collisions, and it's going to make you either raise it, the offset, or it's going to make you choose a different wall thickness sleeve. This is our default sleeve right here. So let's just do this. But I want to show you how this works here. So if we go show properties, so I've right-clicked on the, if you look at the shape of this here, or the position of this, it's right on the tissue like that, okay? I'm going to move this back here too. All right, I don't like that resting there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on this, and I'm going to show properties. And if you come over here, guide tube software, or this is where you're going to make your adjustments. Okay, make it visible. You're going to customize it, and it gives you a warning here. Customizing the guide tube settings can affect the drilling depth. Please review settings carefully. We know that, but it'll adjust the drills that you need. So this offset right here is the distance from the top of the hub. Let's just say it's going to be 11 now. Oh, where did it go? Where did it go? Something's going funky here. I don't know why it's doing these weird things. It's doing them weird jumps. And that light is right in my window. I can't see.
That exclamation point's not stopping you from moving.
No. That's a lock. I can't. The window, the light is right where my next is. Oh, here it goes. Okay, so it raised it there. Okay. So it raised that offset. All right. Now, normally, again, I'm not sure why I did it on this case. When Corey did it, it didn't do that, but here you might have to go back and change that and move your finish lines around. So these are the margins of the guide right here. So normally, that'd be pretty much done. If you want to extend it to be a full arch, so in the lab field, I would like to have full arch guides. I know it's a lot more material, but at least you know you're seated all the way around, and that helps with the accuracy and placement of the guide tubes, because wherever those guide tubes are, that's where your implant's going, whether it's metal or not. So I'm just going to kind of rearrange this. If you want to add dots, you're going to click or shift and left click on it, the blue line, and then you can move it around. So I'm going to add a couple more here. So right click, add, and I can stretch it around. Add a couple more here, right click, add. Because it's going to give you a quadrant tray by default, which is the one I just did, or a quadrant guide like it just did. Now I've kind of wrapped it around the posterior teeth a little bit. I don't want it that far, so I'm going to add one in here so I can pull it away from that embrasure. That, move this guy in here. It's having a hard time reading the back of that tooth. There we go. Okay, something like that. Okay. If I don't like it, I just simply click on it with no shift and it goes away. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm moving it there. Oh, there it goes right there. Okay, so there we go. So there is our full guide. And to do the windows, you just right click somewhere on the space on the model you're working, and you can add a window. Now, when you click on the window, you've got the same tools as you had before to move that thing around. So here's where the scaling button comes in handy. So if you click on there, I don't like it that big, I can make it a little bit taller, or I want to rotate it this way. It's too low, so I'm going to raise it up. And if I'm doing a full arch, I probably want to have one at least here and probably in the posterior. If I'm going to the trouble to do a full arch, I want to make sure that it's seated in the back. Okay. So I'm going to rotate this bad boy around. Whoops. Wrong loop. There we go, like that. Okay. And you probably want one over here too. Rotate it around. Bring it up a little bit. Then we can see the occlusion. It's like that, okay? You can even move this one a little bit. That's okay, because we know it's gonna be seated there. Okay, so you get some windows. Actually, I don't like that one. I like this one. I'm gonna move this one over here. So this one does need to move. I'll move there, put him there. That way we can serve the whole arch. Okay, something like that. So we're done. The only thing you do now is click next. Okay, so it's going to fabricate the guide for you. Okay, there we go. We're done. What do you think? Are you guys all to this point? Was that hard? No big deal? Yeah. You do the next one on your own. No, I'm just kidding. I'll help you through it. Okay, what are the next steps? Okay, is everybody here? Can we move on? So what you do now, we've gone through all the steps over here. You can see it's 92% done. So now we're going to either order it or we're going to get it ready for export. Salud. And then we're going to go next. And we got to save it. So go ahead and save it to the same file, the case file that you brought your files in from. Just highlight on it and click OK. Now, this is important. Okay, so if you have Lab Pronto do it, you're going to have to approve it. So this is your clinical approval. And you want to say yes. Do I want to do it? Yes. If you're going to do it yourself and you don't need to have that approval, you just say no and it goes. But I want to show you what this looks like. So click yes, and it gives you all these liability statements. Basically, you think it's correct clinically. I'm approving the plan, and I'm approving the surgical guide. Okay? That way, Lab Pronto knows that you're good with it. They're just going to make it and send it to you. All right. So what you can do now is either do one of two things. You can either print the report. We're going to do that in a second. Or you could go ahead, that's if you're going to do it yourself, or you can go ahead and apply and save. Let's click apply and save because that's going to save it. Okay, that's going to save the report now to that file that we showed that we're saving everything under. And it's also going to bring you to the Blue Sky Bio website. Right here. Okay, it's going to, it doesn't know what you're going to do. But it assumes you're probably going to want to have a surgical guide printing only. You can have somebody else print it. And if you want the guide sleeves, it's an extra $29. So, important step here. If you get, and I'm a technician by trade, I'm not a salesperson, I'm an educator. If you buy the kit and 30 implants, so basically you're buying 30 implants, and you get the kit for free. It's a I think it's $64.70 minus $500 for this course, so it's $54. Was that $59.70? That was yeah. Okay, $59.70. You get lifetime surgical guides for free from Lab Pronto. So if you send it to Lab Pronto, in 3 days you'll have a surgical guide in your office and it'll be free. And it'll be that way beyond the 30 implants you buy. So any guide you do forever, for as long as you're a customer, you get free guides. So that's kind of a cool deal. As Corey mentioned, Blue Sky likes to give a lot of stuff away for free. And this is just one of the things you can get for free. I'll show you how you can get free crowns, how you get free implants. There's a lot of different ways. But if you get the kit, if you're going to be placing our implants, you're going to have it anyway. You could start out by getting free guides right after that. Okay. But whatever you decide to do here, because you can actually do the treatment planning only, which they charge you, and this is to export it, complete surgical guide package, which is $99 plus $29 in the implant. You can choose whatever you want. And this comes from Lab Pronto, which is our servicing arm. All right, so don't worry about doing anything here. Just click X. We're going to close out of this. I just wanted to show you that's where it directs you to, because it's going to direct you to the website in one of the next steps. Okay, closing Lab Pronto order. We'll delete this form. Yes, we know that. That's okay, because I'm going to do it myself. All right, so now this is where it's going to save. So it's already said, let's see, yeah, save the report. And you're going to go okay. All right, here's the report. This is where you get to see the report. So it has really important information on here, what you're going to do in the hands-on. It has the implant diameter, the length, what types of drills they are. It has the, what did it do? I wanted to give me a fully guided, boy, it's making me look bad here. It can give me a fully guided setup here. This is for freehand. I'll show you on the next case how that works. So, but here are the images. So if we would have saved any images at any point in time during the planning process, they'd have been saved here. And you can just save this right to the patient's file. All right. So treatment plan, surgical guide, and drilling report has been saved. Okay, you don't need to see it. All right, and go next. Now it goes to the website, and it assumes that you already have a kit here, because if not, it would say, okay, buy a kit, because you're going to need to place the implant, because you chose our implant. But here it's going to put the implant in there, and it's going to put the abutment. So the tie base and the crown, or the implant, it's going to be, you know, the total there plus 278. So you get a crown for free. So if you buy the abutment, which you just paid for it here, $129, you buy the abutment and you get the crown for free. So that's another hidden gem. So I'll show you how to get that too, and you have to pay the
You get
shipping.
the crown for free or the design for free?
The crown.
Oh,
If you
crown.
design, if you buy an abutment, you get the crown for free. And I'll show you that when we go to the Blue Sky Bio, the Lab Pronto website. But if you don't need these things, you don't need them. But we're not going to worry about it anyway because we're not buying anything today. So you can just go back to your plan, and this window pops up. Now it says close window, or you can start a new case. So we're going to close Wizard. And I want you guys to stop here. So now it opens up into the full version. This is the advanced version. Remember all the different buttons on top? Now we're going to design the crown. So it takes this data that it just designed the crown on, okay? And we're going to go up here to module. And we're going to pull down and say crown and bridge. All right? So a little bit of roadmap stuff over here. So over here on the side, you've got your different panels. So you've got tooth services, you've got restoration design, you've got tooth panel, you've got parts panel, you've got screenshots. A lot of stuff there. So you can poke through here, and for example, if you want to see what's happening with the tooth service. I'm not going to go into this right here because I don't want to get you confused for now, and you don't need to worry about it, frankly. But what's important is the restorative design panel is, okay? So what I want you to choose here is, what are we doing, a mandible? Okay, choose mandible, and it should have the start button here available. So click on start, and now it's going to design the crown. So it took the crown that it proposed in the design and put it here. This is our crown now. All right. So now we can look at that. We can zoom in. We can look at things like the screw hole. It's a little bit lingual, but it's not terrible. Okay. Because I think I was playing with the crown when the implant, I moved it a little bit lingual. Well, let's assume that that's right down the middle, center fossa, okay? Because if not, you can go back into this, and where it says continue implant planning, and bring this back into the full version and make that change. Come back here. Well, let's just pretend it's okay. So what you want to do now is you're going to click, so custom crown, next, right here. Now this next right here. All right. And it's going to give you what your restorative space looks like. This is the ridge, okay? So the interproximal area, so basically it behind the scenes it's looking at the interproximals, and I'll show you how this all comes together in a second. Go ahead and click next again. Now it gives you your emergence profile, or at least where the ridge lap on the crown is going to be, how it's going to come out of the tissue. And you can change this. See how it's kind of looped up there on its own? You can just simply click shift, and your left button on your mouse and move that in. Because this is basically the footprint of the crown coming, or where it's going to lay on the tissue. Okay, something like that. That looks pretty good. All right. Tell me when you've all been able to do that, make the changes. You can clear it by clicking on clear and start over, and you can just draw it from scratch. Or you can do a propose. It says project margin, it'll give us propose. That's what it just did. So based on the angle that we were shooting at, when it chose the angle, it didn't see this undercut probably right here, and that's why it looped up around this distal contact area. Okay, once we like that, we're going to click next. And here's where we can make our final changes. So if you come over here, if you look at the crown margin, so if you look up underneath here, turn it up under here, we got these little dots here. So now you've got the crown margin. This is harder to see on this one. On the premolar you're going to do next, you can actually see a nice contoured angle. But you've got the crown margin. If you notice here, you see where it's kind of moving up there? That's the actual margin. And then you got the base contour at the bottom. And these are all default settings. And your minimal thicknesses are usually about 0.5 millimeter. On the thickness, you don't want to be any thinner than that because it's a zirconia crown, you don't want it to fracture. And you can also take these little buttons here. If you want to create more emergence profile, you can just click on one of these little guys. He's supposed to... There we go. Okay, you can click on these and you can morph out, you can bring out some of these contours, kind of swallow them out a little bit. I'm left clicking on those. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I'm just kind of playing with it to show you. So if you had a defect in the tissue, you could fill that in. But you can even do more. So click next. All right, here's our crown now. Now we can add smooth. So say we don't like the way this area right through here looks. We can come over here and add, subtract, or smooth. So if to add, you click on the add, and you click shift on the area you want to go, and then left click. That makes it blue, and you can just kind of rotate it around, and it makes it big. Or they don't like this right here now. This is taking the triangles, it's kind of distorting them. I can still smooth these out by, again, be careful because it takes some of those triangles and screws, it messes with them. Okay, so I don't like that. I can go back here. Okay. Wonder if I can add to that. No, I did that. I have a weird contour there. And over here too. Okay. So once you get that to where you like it, click next here, and you're done. So that's your last step. So now we've got our crown with ideal contacts. Now the occlusion would have been calculated here as well. There's your screw hole. We could have changed that. We would have had to have gone back into the regular planning to move it over. The whole implant based on the straight abutment. So you're done, and the next thing to do is to export. You click export. I don't think you guys can do this because you don't have credits, but this is where it shows you what you can export. So what's included in this export is because it's going to charge you one. So you're going to do the model if you want to do the model. You want to do the guide. So we're going to click on that. Okay, and it's going to do your crown, if you want to do your crown. Now the crown, at this point, you could order the tie base and do a zirconia or an acrylic crown as a temp. And a lot of people do that, they'll temporize it, and they'll print that on a printer. Tomorrow they're going to talk to you about single crown printers, where you can just do one printer or one crown at a time. Okay, here's where I was telling you earlier that it's going to give you the exports remaining, right down here. So if I'm going to do this, it's going to go, where do you save it? It's going to do it back to the mandibular file. I already got one called that, so yes. So now I've exported everything to this folder. And where did I save them to? Oh, I saved them to the... Yeah, I've got a lot of them in here, but basically it would give you a mandibular custom crown, and it would give you a guide with windows. These two files right here would give you, okay? And that's what you're going to use tomorrow to print. So you guys are going to load these two files into the printer, line them up on the build platform, and print yourself a crown and a guide, all right? Now, if you're ordering sleeves, if you want to do this yourself, you had sleeves, you'd have to order the sleeves from Blue Sky Bio and glue those in. But I'm going to close this. You're done. So now for your next case, you would just click up here, or you're going to open up a new case and it goes back to your honeycomb window. Okay? So, you guys ready to do another one? So there's a maxillary case in there. Let's do that one next. Okay? You want to walk through it, or you want to do it yourself? You want to see how fast you can get through it? And if you have questions, we'll just say, hey, we'll answer them together up here. Should we do it?